L. Boney here of Trending Tuesday. So excited to have you. Happy New Year. Yeah, give it up, everybody. We got everybody in noise. I know Chef Eddie is in the back getting everything ready for all those edible, all. Got to get that wine, you know, that he always has on deck for me. But nonetheless, so excited to be with you guys on yet another Trending Tuesdays. Have some exciting guests, and we're going to have a great conversation on today. 6 days from now, your president, your newly elected president, will be. But President Donald J. Trump will begin his term as president of the United States. Place where they try to change the Constitution to allow him to serve. Excuse me, that's what I was trying. Campaign trail. He said, I mean, he was speaking to a Christian. Never have to worry about voting ever again. Well, he was where he will never not be the president until he's no longer capable to, or he's. And we all know that, but well, they say this is not our first rodeo, and so we. You know, basically what's on the horizon based off of what we've been talking into a little bit of that, especially some of the things that he's proposing. We have some people here that can talk about some of the things that are probably important to many of our viewers and many of the people that some of his executive decisions, how they'll impact citizens in the United States, or those that may not currently be citizens. But joining me today, I have two guests. I have first Ms. Helen Daniel Holman. She is attorney, partner, founder, Daniel Williams and Associates Law Firm. Let's give her a round of applause, everyone. And we also have joining us Ms. Nicole Odom Hardnett, and she is the president, CEO of Focus Point Solutions and Focus Point Behavioral Health, and she's also an author. Let's give her a round of applause. All right, we're going to jump right into the conversation. So welcome. Thank you for joining us on Trending Tuesdays. So your president will be inaugurated on January the 20th. Thoughts on a second Trump presidency?
It's absolutely nothing we can do about it. It's here. It's not going to change. Am I thrilled? Not really, but it is what it is.
Helen.
So So I think for us, this will be our second time having him in office, and our goal is just to stay on brand and stay anchored. We play the role of anchor counsel and advisement for our clients. They seek us to be the constant, and we've traveled these waters before, we've navigated this before, and we intend to continue to strategize and come up with solutions that fit exactly what our clients' needs are.
You know, one of the things that I know that has been a heavy point of conversation is the proposed idea that they were going to have these roundups and do mass deportation of individuals that are deemed to be here illegally. And they were talking about spending millions and investing millions and millions of dollars for this effort. So I know that, Helen, you deal with immigration, you and your firm, and you know, I know that this is not something, I think every time we hear immigration, we always think about the Hispanic community. We think about Latinos. But there are more than just Latinos that are immigrants to this country or that have come here to this country that are not legal citizens as of yet. That could be that are sure to be impacted by some of these decisions. There are those from Haiti and those from Africa and various other countries as far as the African diaspora is concerned, as well as other countries. And so there has to be some level of fear amongst the immigrant community. Thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. Anxieties are high right now, as you can expect. And I think that, like you said, the mass deportation, because we're a border state, it does impact the Latino community. The scrutiny is getting so much higher, and these out. So because we represent many groups, loose ends or get their respective houses in order as far as documentation. And so we are working evenings, we're working weekends, but our phones are really heavy right now with that concern. And it's not just the Latino community. We've got clients from, like you said, Africa, Sudan, Morocco, China. We've got a lot of students and business professionals as clients, so they are calling.
Yeah, and I know you deal with, Nicole, the behavioral aspect, the mental aspect of things, and a lot of this can weigh on the psyche. It can weigh on you emotionally as well as what you're dealing with. And I can only imagine that having, because, I mean, I don't know the processes, and we'll come back to you, Helen, about the processes as to why it takes so long to become a citizen, I guess. And then I'm sure that there has to be some dynamics as to how you got here in the first place and some of those things. So, you know, I don't know if you've dealt with anyone who is an immigrant or dealing with immigration issues.
We do have a few immigrants in some of my locations. It's going to affect everybody. If it's not you, it's going to be a friend or a family member. So it's sometime or another, there's, of course, going to be some anxiety, some behind this, because me personally, I've been watching some news briefs and where they're worried about this. They have been in this country for decades, and now they're going to it's a big possibility for them to be uprooted. And I just think that there's so much more that we can really concentrate on. And I get the whole, you know, if there's someone that is wreaking havoc and they're kidnapping and murdering, I get, you know, the deportation for those individuals. But people who are hardworking taxpayers in this country, leave them alone.
Well, I mean, let's talk about I mean, because they are even going as far as, and I saw Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who talked about kind of ramping up things even himself and joining forces with the incoming Trump administration with immigration detention. And I can only think back on how those young children at the border were being separated from their families, and they were put in these cages, and treated like animals in a sense. And so it's really kind of a tragic thought to think that this could be our current reality.
Exactly. It's very sad. And as I said, there are more things in this world that we can concentrate on than deportation.
I think what you all are describing is just the difference between violent offenders versus nonviolent offenders. And so for violent offenders, I think that the urgency should remain high. And I also think that whatever administration's advisement is how USCIS and how immigration is run. And so the laws don't necessarily have to change if the advisement and the culture that's created by the administration, in this case Trump, is to deport or to heavily detain people who are nonviolent offenders. And so I think that's what you're looking at when people say just leave, families alone or support family unity. We've also practiced under presidents who were in support of family unity, and the human element was there. And so those children that you were talking about were taken care of under programs like DACA and TPS, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and that focused on children who had no choice in coming. They came as kids, they grew up here, lived here, and acted, pretty much as close to citizens as you would think, and then they would be removed when they became of age. Well, under Biden and Obama's administration, they put things in place so that children like that who did not make the decision to be here were protected, and they were able to be supported through family unity. And
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think about how the, Trump scare tactics with the verbiage and the rhetoric and things. And at the end of the day, for me, I don't think it has anything to do with just trying to protect the borders. I think it's more, about, in my opinion, about protecting the influx of non-European individuals in this country, because at the end of the day, I want to say there was a report out that said that by 2045 that Caucasians would no longer be the majority in this country. So there is a continuum of course, with a lack of procreation amongst whites, and them getting older and dying off. There's a fear, I feel, of losing control of this country and the power, because it's all about money and the power, right? So I think that this influx of mass deportations, to me, it's kind of the mass incarceration 2.0, in a sense that you're using now an ability to get rid of a people. With black people back in the day, the crack epidemic, they put all of our family members, whether you were a distributor or whether you were a user, in jail for periods of time, disrupting families. And I feel like there's an attempt to just try to maintain control.
All right.
Your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with that. I don't know what year all of this is going to take place, but I truly agree that it's a control mechanism. And what I see since Trump was in the office the first time versus, I'm sure now it'll be the same way, is that our other counterparts, they're more vocal when he's in office. I noticed the difference between Biden being in office and Trump being in office. You have a lot more racism going on. Mm-hmm. And it's like our ethnicities are taking a back seat, or expected to take a back seat, because now that this white power thing is going on. And I have always said I believe that there are backdoor meetings to wipe out our race. Yeah. That's just been my belief, because they are much more vocal than they have ever been when he's been in office.
Shifting gears just a tad, I think about conversations we've had here on Trending Tuesdays, and I've had overall, and of course for those that may not know, I'm the editor of the oldest African American newspaper here in the southern region, the Forward Times, and pretty much every week we write stories, and I wrote continuously and included content in our publication about the Project 2025 and various other things. African American community members that were supportive of voting for Donald Trump, their main thing was the economy. And they were talking about, man, especially a lot of entrepreneurs, man, I made a lot of money under Trump, or I make money under Republicans. And this, to me, is not about Republican, Democrat, but the psyche that we have that somehow, some way, that based off of a party affiliation, that, you know, it's all about my pocketbook. It's about the money that I make. And I know you deal with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners as far as, you know, representation law and things of that nature. But where's the balance? Where's the balance where, you know, we look at the humanity, you know, issues and decisions that are made that impact the whole of our culture and our community versus you know, coming up on you know, saving money on your taxes. And I'm not saying that that's not important, because it's definitely important to me, but I'm saying that, you know, to what cost?
I think that anybody who's focused solely there is just, they're not taking the community approach, they're not taking the more selfless approach, and so they're looking inward instead of trying to have a balanced view of it. You all were talking just a minute ago about basically the eradication of a race, or, you know, eroding the race, and I think that you mentioned a back door, and what we see a lot of times on our employment docket is that the playing field starts not being level in the employment setting, so in the workplace, and that starts with pay inequity. It starts with disparate treatment and other subtle ways, and companies are becoming so much more knowledgeable about how to discriminate without being caught. And so a lot of the work that we do on that employment docket really addresses that, or we educate both our individual clients as well as our business clients on how not to that, or if it's an individual client, we teach them how to identify that. But Equal Pay Act is discussed a lot, pay equity, diversity, and inclusion, because if you can cause differentiation, or if you can have somebody treated disparately regarding their pay, then everything else will follow, because they won't have the same resources, or the playing field is not leveled there.
You know, I always like to give the viewers an opportunity to kind of I don't like to just ask questions. Outstanding responses and answering these questions. So, Nicole, talk about focus point solutions and focus point behavioral and what made you jump into that arena.
So before we get into that, I have to stop you. You got to give me my props. I'm Dr.
Oh, excuse. All right, Dr. Nicole. Dr. Nicole, all right.
But no, Focus Point Solutions is the parent name of the company. Focus Point Behavioral Health is how I operate. And Focus Point owns 5 locations in Maryland, 1 location in Delaware, and 1 in Tomball, Texas. We see our clients for mental health, substance use, DUI, DWI, employment services, supportive employment, medication-assisted treatment, and medication management, and a few other programs that have just come aboard. I work with all the prison systems in Maryland, detention centers in Maryland, and I do plan on bringing the same to Texas. So we just a full service organization.
Well, Dr. Nicole, tell me what made you want to pursue this arena? Why pursue this, endeavor?
You know, I really didn't set out to own anything such as this. I really think it was just it was a calling on me. I've been working with this population for a very long time, for other individuals. And I did actually know at some point that I was not cut out to work for someone.